right, this is called I Look in the Water and I See Myself by Phil Tiso. I could have been arrested for the smell coming from my pores. Sitting in the sun-drenched old schoolhouse, I imagined that a visible cloud of steam was rising from my body into the alarmingly bright room. I was at my 6-year-old niece's brownie investiture ceremony. I glanced around nervously. There were dozens of 6-year-old girls darting about. Girls were occasionally caught by a parent who adjusted a sash or straightened a pin or bow. The girls were about to become brownies, and their excitement was palpable. I was sweating bullets. Perspiration, still alcohol-rich, oozed from my pallid skin and evaporated in the arid sunshine warping through the antique schoolroom glass. Lush green trees blocked the windows to the north, from which direction no sun would ever shine. The south windows, however, were brutally bare of protective foliage. Sunlight pierced the smoking rings of pain that were all that was left of my eyes and stabbed into the thin fluid surrounding my brain. As the last few remaining drops of moisture in my body leaked out through my graying skin, I tried to will myself not to have a seizure, a stroke, a heart attack, or burst into flame. A pair of mothers with a handful of brownies to be in tow walked to the center of the room and placed a mirror face up on the floor. The young girls wreathed this with a length of freeway ivy. One of the mothers clapped her hands. The girls scrambled to the southwest corner of the room and launched themselves into the 2 rows of formed plastic and steel chairs. The girls' legs stuck out parallel to the floor as they slid all the way back into the chairs. They remained that way, backs upright, legs at right angles. They fixed their eyes attentively on the pair of proud mothers who walked up to a podium set beyond the ivy-circled mirror. "Thank you all for coming," one of the women said. Everyone who wasn't already seated quickly found a chair. A hush fell. I was certain that the stale aroma of potato chips and fermented bananas flowing out of me must be washing over the assembled adults. I sighed, trying to direct my exhaled breath toward the floor. There was a brief explanation given about the brownie investiture ceremony we were about to witness. It seemed very complicated. I was unable to follow it. I'd been given a digital camera to capture images of the event. I pressed the brushed aluminum of the camera to my face and closed my eyes. The cool metal feel of the camera stirred vague metallic memories. From the haze in my mind, an image emerged of a shapely Art Deco juicer. The bartender's name was Walter, and he didn't strictly enforce whatever local customs or laws applied to cutting off drunks. I'd watched Walter as he sliced the lime in half and placed one hemisphere into the chrome juicer and pulled down the long, tapering handle. What looked like an ounce of juice flowed out of the juicer and into a waiting glass. Walter deftly swapped the spent fruit rind for another half lime and pulled the handle. The second half yielded another generous amount of juice. "Nice," I commented. "The Extractaguzzi is the finest manual juicer ever made," Walter explained. "This model, the XG10000FJ, revolutionized juicing with its oil channeling grooves." Walter made a voila gesture with one hand and followed through by raising the juicer handle. "The citrus fruit has an oil-rich rind. These essential oils contain most of the characteristic zesty smell that you associate with the fruit flavor and that we use to enhance the cocktail. The Extractaguzzi XG10000FJ redirects the oils into the juice as it is extracted, and this gives the drink even more character." I had no idea. Sitting on the bar just next to my right elbow was a glass container standing on 4 ornate metal legs. There were 6 tiny spigots on the vessel. "What is this thing, Walter?" "That's an absinthe fountain," he replied. "It has cold water that you use to louche the absinthe." The ban on absinthe had recently been lifted. I looked over Walter's shoulder and saw an impressive array of elaborately labeled absinthe bottles. "Louche?" "Yes, the cold water turns it from clear to cloudy as it frees the essence of the herbs that flavor the spirit. Watch." Walter poured a small glass of clear emerald liquid out of a bottle. He held the glass under one of the spigots and turned the valve. As the cold water entered the glass, the spirit turned an opaque, glowing green. "See? Here, try it." He set the glass in front of me. I tasted it. The chilled spirit initially overpowered aggressive licorice candy flavor, then gave way to more elemental taste of anise, green basil leaves. That sensation diminished and led ultimately to a primal earthy flavor. As the flavors on my tongue faded, I looked at the faint, indistinct reflection of myself in the absinthe fountain. It's very interesting. Thank you, Walter. As I drank the rest of the absinthe, I placed my hand on the cold vessel. Beads of condensation were forming beneath the spigots. Tell you what, Walter, pour me another one of those. He poured another glass. I held it under one of the tiny spigots and watched the frigid water flow into the absinthe. I woke up on the cold bathroom tiles of my hotel room. An empty, crumpled potato chip bag had been my apparent choice for a pillow. As I stood up, head pounding, I caught sight of myself in the corroded silverback mirror. Potato chips had been my choice of a late-night snack, too, judging by the crumbs in my beard. There was an imprint of the bathroom tiles clearly visible on my right cheek. I'd be lucky if I didn't end up with athlete's face. I turned the cold water tap of the bathroom sink and pulled tepid handfuls of water to my mouth. My leathern tongue rejected the moisture, successfully cured, it seemed, by the night's tanning. I closed the tap and stood there for a moment, water dripping from my mouth. On a hunch, I spun open the H side. Slightly cooler water poured from the spigot. I stuck my head as far as it would fit into the square ceramic sink and guzzled. I cleaned myself up as best I could and descended the stairs. I emerged into the bright morning. It promised to be a long Los Angeles day. It was the dead of winter, so the scorching sun hovered slightly lower in the southern sky. No matter which way you looked, the sun angled behind your sunglasses and sent your brain piercing reminders that you were under no circumstances to look directly at it.